Good morning students, welcome to the online class for standard 10. Today we'll do the chapter poem A Tiger in the Zoo, which is written by Leslie Norris. So we had done this in a live session, but some of the students couldn't join, so I'm repeating this one. Those who have doubts, they can also clear the doubts. So before going to the poem, let's read about the poet. So George Leslie Norris, he was born in 1921 and died in 2006. He was a prize-winning Welsh poet and short story writer. He is considered as most important Welsh writers of the post-war period, and his literary works have won many prizes. His famous works are Finding Gold, The Loud Winter, Phoenix Living Poet series, Ransoms, etc. So these are the famous poems of this poet. And this particular poem, A Tiger in the Zoo, it is a poem which explains the agony and helplessness of a caged tiger that lives in a zoo. And here the poet explains what his life could be if he had been a free animal and living in a forest. The poet has tried to explain about the condition of the animals that are caged by human beings for their own fun. So here in this poem, the poet is expressing the feelings of a tiger and what he would have been doing if he would have been in a forest. And he describes the difference, the different movement of the tiger in the zoo and in his natural habitat. And the poem tells us about the contrast of a tiger kept in a zoo and with the tiger in its natural surrounding. And let's see what the poem is. He stalks in his vivid stripes the few steps of his cage on pads of velvet quiet in his quiet reach. In these 4 lines, the poet expresses that the tiger in his vivid means bright color. The stripes, you can see the stripes on the body of the tiger, that bright color stripes, and which can be noticeable from the far distance. And what he is doing, he is stalks means follows. So he follows the few steps of his cage. So here is the first contrast. Here the poet describes that in the cage there is only few steps. The area is very small. The cage is very small as compared to the forest, and the tiger, he is taking few steps inside that cage on pads of velvet quiet. Velvet quiet means here the pads of velvet. It refers to what? In the picture you can see the paw. The paw of the tiger is compared with the pads of velvet, very soft. Okay, the softness of that paw is compared with the softness of velvet. And the poetic device is here metaphor, comparison. And quiet in his quiet rage. Rage means anger. Here the poet is telling us that the tiger in the zoo, he is walking inside the cage very silently and in his quiet rage. Quiet rage, they are quite opposite to each other. If you are angry, you can't be quiet, isn't it? So violent activities is associated with anger. But here the tiger is not violent, rather he is very quiet. So this literary device is called oxymoron. Oxymoron means use of the adjectives which are opposite in meaning, like quiet, rage. So there are what is the rhyme scheme of this stanza? A, B, C, B, because the second and fourth line rhyme with each other. And here the poet has personified the tiger. He is personified, so it is personification. And there is enjambment. Enjambment means continuation of the sentence to the next line without any punctuation mark. Can you find it out? Yes, it's in the first line and second line. The first line continues to the second line without any punctuation marks, and this device is called, figure of speech is called enjambment. and the poet has used the sounds of S, consonant sound S in the line, first line, stalks his stripes. S is repeated, so but it is not in the beginning. So what is that repetition of consonant sound, but not in the beginning of the, it could be in the middle, it could be at the end of the word, so that is called consonance. And there is assonance also. Assonance means use of vowel sound and repetition of vowel sound, and where you will find it, in his vivid stripes. I, the sound I is repeated and it is called assonance. So you can note it down in the copy in the book. And then the second stanza. He should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass, near the water hole where plump deer pass. So here in these lines, the poet is taking us to the forest where the tiger, what it could be doing? It should be lurking. Lurking means to be hidden, as to wait for its prey. So the tiger would be waiting for the prey, and the movement of the tiger is described. How it would go through the long grass, it will hide itself, okay, in shadow it will hide itself, and it will slide through very silently, where, near the water hole, near the water bodies, near the pond, near the some water bodies where long grasses would be there, and the other animals would be coming to drink water. So, and what he will find? The plump deer. Plump means fat. So he will wait there silently, and this hunting skill of the tiger is described here. The tiger should be lurking, should be hidden to wait for its prey, and it will slide quietly through the long grass which is there near the water hole. And what will he do? He will wait for the deer to come so that he will attack on its prey. So this is what the tiger should be doing in the forest. But now where the tiger is? He is in the zoo. He can't do all these things. And the literary devices, let's discuss. The rhyme scheme is A, B, C, B. That's the second line, grass, and the last one, pass. They rhyme with each other. Enjambment, I have discussed that the continuation of line from one line to next line without any punctuation mark. So can you find it out? Yes, this is the sliding through long grass near the water hole where plump deer pass. So from the second line to the last, there is no punctuation mark. So the poetic device, literary device is enjambment. And then alliteration of the sound, where in the last line, plump, pass, P, the sound of P. Alliteration means repetition of consonant sound in the beginning letter, okay, which is nearby, close to each other, okay. Then imagery, the poet creates the image of that tiger's hunting activity, lurking in shadow and moving slowly through the grass. And now in the next stanza. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his claws terrorizing the village. So now what the tiger should be doing if he is there in the forest? He should be snarling. Snarling means making sound, very warning sound which is made by the animals, that roaring sound. So the tiger should be roaring where? Around houses at the jungle's edge. The houses which are, or the villages which are nearby the forest, on the outskirts of the forest, the tiger would be making roaring sound, and what he would be doing, and showing his teeth. White fangs means sharp teeth of that animal, and he would be baring means uncovering, means opening that teeth and his claws. And what he would be doing, he would be terrorizing the village. He would terrorize the people. He will make them afraid. So he would show his strength. He will show his capability, his white teeth and the claws, and he would start making roaring sound, and but now he's not doing anything like that, isn't it? So these two, second and third stanza, they describe the animal, the tiger, in his natural habitat. And what are the literary devices? Let's discuss. Same thing, rhyme scheme ABCB. And then enjambment. In the first line, he should be snarling to the second. The first line continues to the second without any punctuation mark. And then there is another literary device, that is onomatopoeia, which means the words which denote sound. Just like the word like hiss, then buzz. These are the words which create sound in our mind. Okay, the hiss refers to the sound of the snake, then buzz, bees sound. So these words, they create a sound in our mind. So these words, they denote sound. So similarly, the word snarling, it creates a sound in our mind. So it is onomatopoeia. And there is assonance, repetition of vowel sound O in the words like shoot, around, houses. And then there is I sound repeated, bearing his white fangs. Okay, he's here. This is repetition of assonance. Consonance is also there. His fangs, his claws, S repeated. And let's see the next one. But he is locked in a concrete cell, his strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. So what he is doing now, the poet has taken us back to the Jew, and where he is locked, he means here the tiger. The tiger is locked where? In a concrete cell. Okay, in a concrete cell refers to the cage. And his strength, where the strength lies? His strength is behind the bars. He can't show his strength to all. He can't show it, terrorize the people. He can't do anything. Now he is helpless. The poet describes the helplessness, the sad plight of this wild animal, and stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. What the tiger is doing now? He is behind the bars. He is locked in a cage, and what he is doing? He is stalking the length of his small cage. And what he does? He ignores the visitors. He is not at all interested in the visitors, and he doesn't terrorize them. Rather, he sits quietly. But inside, he is very angry. The anger is there inside, but silently he sits. He doesn't care about the other people, the people who come to visit the zoo. So he stalks, he measures the length of his cage. He just walks and follows inside the cage, and he does nothing like that. And then, what are the literary devices? Same thing, rhyme scheme ABCB, and personification as we discussed. And then assonance, use of the vowel sound E, he, locked, concrete cell. There is consonance, use of the consonant sound S, his, strength, bars, S is repeated. Then alliteration, use of B sound behind bars, and concrete cell, CCBB. And here this is alliteration, because we saw the consonant sound C and B in the beginning. Okay, that's why it is alliteration. And the consonant sound S is repeated in his, strength, bars. S is there in HISS, strength S, bars S, but it is not in the beginning, so it is called consonants. Then the last one, he hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. So what the tiger is doing now? He is in the cage, and what he hears, what is the last voice he hears? It is the patrolling cars. Patrolling is to guard, to whistle the cars which keep an eye, or which guard at night to see everything is right or not. And the sound of the patrolling cars is the last thing which the tiger hears. And what he does? He stares with his brilliant eyes. He looks up in the sky with his brilliant eyes to the brilliant stars. He looks at the stars, and he just sees the beautiful stars with his beautiful brilliant eyes. So the poem takes us from the zoo to the jungle and then takes us back to the zoo to show us the contrast and to show us the difference of a tiger who is in the zoo and a tiger who is in the wild. In the wild refers to the forest. So this is all about the poem. There are some questions I have already given you. So the poem draws a contrast between the tiger in a zoo and tiger in a forest. What has been personified in the poem? Tiger. What is quite rich? Oxymoron. Poetic device used in this line. It could be stalks. If you are talking about stalks, stripes, it will be consonants. If you talk about in his vivid stripes, it is assonance. And of pads of velvet, it is metaphor. Then baring his white fangs, his claws, it is consonants. And then lurking in shadow, why he should be lurking? To catch a deer, catch the deer. And what describes tiger in a cell? Locked in concrete cell. And what described tiger in a jungle? Barring his white fangs. So this is all for today. In the next session we'll have something different. Till then, goodbye.